Now, let's see Monique, another Monique, by the way, posed for Penthouse magazine, which also has Centerfolds. Now, what made you decide to do it? What were you expecting to get from it?
Well, I agree with Joan and Cindy. First of all, I needed money, and secondly, I didn't think that I was sexy enough. I was very insecure about the way I looked and about my body, and I thought, wow, they really want me? So I went ahead and did it, and suddenly I was a sex symbol. And it really shocked me because I was called ugly at school.
That is so interesting. Are you fascinated by this, Joan, as a therapist, that so many of these women have expressed those doubts that, you know, we think only other people carry around? Here they are in the all together with the world to see, and they're saying they had insecure feelings about their own identities and their own beauty.
Yeah, in some way it surprises me, like as a woman, as a therapist. No, not necessarily, because I've had a lot of beautiful women that I've worked with that in many ways are very shy, and depending upon the kinds of messages that they get as children about themselves, like if you have kids from school that tease you because you're gangly or something, those kinds of messages stay with you. So you may blossom into this gorgeous young woman in your teens, yet you carry around the idea of this gangly little girl, and the two don't mix. So you can, you know, look at this picture and say, my gosh, I can't believe that's me.
After these messages, we'll be back. Centerfold layouts. What about that idea that men are having you in a certain way, that there's an invasion of you're being shared?
I think that photography is more of an image maker. We are beings. We are human beings. But a photograph is a girl that basically has a lot done to her in the photograph. It is a part of her, but it's not all of her.
Joe on the corner at the garage isn't going to think about all the makeup and everything else. I mean, you know, I don't know what he's going to do with the magazine.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
That's why we're considered so
saying is
different.
From her point of view, though, what I think you're saying is that as far as you're concerned, maybe that's not totally you. That's just one facet of your total being.
That is just dots on a piece of paper,
Right, okay.
as far as I'm concerned.
But it's pretty personal dots.
Yeah, it is. It is.
On in his mind about, I mean, that this is the ideal woman. This is the way all women should look.
No,
And Nikki,
I've
you
never felt threatened.
Go ahead. You better say it quickly.
In September, my youngest sister committed suicide, and she did so. In her suicide note, she wrote, I'm cute now, but what will happen when my beauty fails? I have ugly feet, pawns, and wrinkles. She was beautiful. The whole cosmetic industry, the clothing industry, is built on women attempting to fulfill themselves through buying products.
Absolutely.
And it's creating illusions. That's what the whole Playboy empire is. It's attempting to sell men their sexuality in a publication. And women are discarded after they are 20 years old or 22, and you yourself were even saying you didn't feel real.
There's many people out there who say, isn't that beautiful? That was one of the bases upon which Mr. Hefner founded Playboy, is let's take the glamorous goddess out of the celluloid film in the darkened theater and make her an attainable person in a friendship such as the girl next door. That's what made Playboy different, was you will notice they went toward more of a girl next door image. We're talking about adults, we're talking about attitudes, and we're talking about something that is done with grace and loveliness and beauty.
Well,
now, it is up to someone else.
Now, Playboy can be bought by something other than adult, mature men.
No, I'm talking about the poser.
You say
I'm
you
talking
have
about
no
the people.
responsibility for the reaction to the picture. That your decision to pose and be in the centerfold, you have no responsibility to what may be perceived on the part of the beholder.
Because if I were that concerned about the responsibility of am I leading someone astray, then I shouldn't have done it in the first place.
Well, okay.
And that's
I mean,
a matter of choice.
yeah, okay, we'll be back in a minute.
point that Monique was mentioning about this man coming in to rape her, and we were making the correlation before that one has nothing to do with another. But if she's seen nude in his home in a magazine, then he sees her as his playmate, which is what they're called, playmates, to violate and to use.
Not only nude. I believe men rape women because they see them not as human beings, but as objects. Women have got to deal with the images that this society portrays about us when we're on the street. Hugh Hefner and Larry Flint can be safe up in their mansions with bodyguards driving them around. We are not so fortunate. We have to walk from the bus stop at night and deal with men who don't look at us as human beings.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
I have two illustrations that I'd like to throw out for comment. One of the original poster kings, if you will, was a gentleman named Mark Spitz. Now, I don't know how many young girls bought that poster because he held Olympic records or because they dug gold chains. How many women have looked at the centerfold of Playgirl magazine, who is male, and then gone out and violated little boys? I think there is a personal responsibility of the viewer to be responsible for his actions as long as the poser, okay, meaning the centerfold person, has not gone out of their way. And sure, I was scared and vulnerable when that came out because I'm not used to undressing in public, nor would I walk on the street and undress in public.
I have something that I think is happening here, and I keep hearing it in a lot of different ways. And one thing is, I think there's a lot of denial going on. I keep hearing it's like, well, no, you know, these pictures, they really don't have any effect. And I think it's real important to acknowledge that they do have an effect.
That's great.
And again, how far you want to carry it, you know, you can have somebody that is going to do all these horrible atrocities, but they may never look at a magazine either. But to sit here and say, well, no, there really isn't an association and it's just to sell beautiful bodies, I think that's really not being real honest. And I think we really deserve to at least be honest with ourselves.
Was that
But
part
the
of...
mentality that goes with the Hefner philosophy, the debasement of women, the cheapness that they hold women. There's a broad on there. Look at Hefner. He is never alone, really. He's got broads all over him. It just makes you feel very disposable and very demeaned, very uninteresting, and very not with it.
If I can make this a personal question, what was the real sort of bottom line effect of your posing for a centerfold
Why
in
I
your
did
own
it?
life? No, the effect, not why.
Okay. I had a lot of identity problems in my life. And when I did it, I didn't associate with the girl in the magazine as even myself. That was another human being. And I look at my pictures now and I still see another person. Okay, with or without Playboy having been in my life, I would have had to face a crisis in my life with identity anyway. I was in psychotherapy for 4 years after being in Playboy, but it would have come one way or the other. It's just that Playboy brought it to a head even sooner. I was confronted with all kinds of, I wasn't clear about my sexuality at all.
So you're really saying that doing that forced you to look at yourself
Exactly.
in a different way.
Exactly.
Joan, overall effect.
Experience and growth as I am the sum total of all my parts, and that includes my experiences, positive and negative.
I'm going to have to bring this to a
show
close.
illustrates the depth of these women. Why does Hugh Hefner have to portray them as superficial objects?
Well, I'm glad we've had the opportunity to show them as full human beings. We'll be back tomorrow.